until it's ready to go out to the community for community input. So,
Okay, so our system is kind of allowed and the community is going to be provided with a copy of what's happening in this section to them. So they would know what we were discussing.
no.
So how would they even be able to see like what changes we were talking about? Because we wasn't, okay, so this is what I was told that I didn't have to go into detail reading all the changes and everything, just kind of reference.
What changed? The red line.
I don't know in the past if they provided the community with the last one. I think, well, when it goes to the commission, I know that they provide a copy of it. Which one? I don't know.
The red line is what we're
Right, well,
and see, that's what I was just wondering, so what if the community questions, like, you know, as far as the changes, if there were some questions that didn't come up within the board and us discussing.
I think if you, if you say these are the verbally express the changes that you want to make, and then all of you have a discussion, that would give them a sense of what's in the ordinance. I didn't think about that copy because it's still in, yes, and they would have to then come to my office or. Okay, so what it wasn't given to them, so I don't know, you can discuss it amongst yourselves, and then I don't know if the board has ever provided the community with proposed ordinance. I know this commission has.
Okay, so I'll catch you up real quick. What my question was the community that was going to be present in the meeting, you provided with a copy of the draft, just in case there was any type of questions. Because for me, the other side of that too was saying, I was going to open it up for public comment if like people were here and had comment prior to us having our discussion, but they haven't had a chance to see it.
No, they haven't.
I think really the public comment comes when it's read at the first reading, right?
Yes, with the commission, the ones who will decide whether. I think this is a time for all of you to come up with what you want my office to do. And then, because then you'll have community, I'm sure you're gonna have community reach, once you have it, and they can have those conversations. So I think with the other one, they went around to various, were you involved in that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they did take the draft after the first reading?
It was,
After you done everything?
it was, well, I'm assuming it was after.
Yes,
after the
exactly.
changes, and then it was like in congruence with first readings, second readings.
Because community does get it.
Hi.
Yes. Yes, right now it's the board.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
They do.
Is it your Charlotte?
Right?
Not a clue.
She moved us.
So Shardae's not coming?
Okay, I'm gonna set my camera on now.
I need to bring my
I voted.
I know I brought my stronger glasses, so.
Okay, good evening. I call Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, the meeting for the Civil Rights Board to order at 5:02 p.m. Director Hewitt-Smith, will you please give a roll call?
Yes, this is Director Tanya Hewitt-Smith. I'm sorry, Chairperson Faison,
Present.
Deputy Chair Lukman,
Present.
Director Calderon,
Present.
Director Burpee,
Present.
Director Sims.
Excused.
Did I add Commissioner Hoffman? No, did I need her before Commissioner Hoffman? I can't remember. Oh, okay. Commissioner Hoffman,
Excused.
all right, thank you. That is roll call.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for today's meeting.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
I second.
It has been moved by Vice Chair Lukman, and it has been seconded by Director Burpee. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Abstentions? Agenda is adopted. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes from April 3rd, 2024 Civil Rights Board meeting.
This is Vice Chair Lukman, and I propose a motion to adopt or approve the minutes from April 3rd.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lukman. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? The minutes have been adopted for April 3rd, 2024. At this time, we will have public announcements and communication. Will you be giving that? We don't have any for today. Our first item for discussion will be A, addition of expanding Civil Rights Board applicants. Currently, we have it to where we have 2 seats that are non-city, and so we wanted to open that up for discussion in order to see if we would like to make any changes to that. Based off of, we've had seats that have not been occupied for quite some time. We've had many applicants that have put in application that do reside outside the city. So opening that up for discussion to see how everybody feels.
This is Director Calderon Hueso. I just wanted to ask what that would entail as far as, what do you mean by outside of the city? Would it still have any limitations as far as within Kalamazoo County, things of that nature? Or is this just intended for, I guess I just want to know what that would entail, what that would mean, please.
I think it probably will hold the same restrictions that it does currently for the 2 seats that are outside. So being, I'm not sure what it is now as far as the surrounding municipalities.
Right now, it's basically, you may not live within the city limits of Kalamazoo, but you have a vested interest within the city limits. Employed within the city limits of Kalamazoo, of that nature, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, or if you have property within the city limits. So if you're vested in the city limits, however, you live outside, because that's where some of the seats that we currently have right now.
So that would include counties outside of Kalamazoo?
Correct.
We had brought this topic up a good couple months ago because we were receiving a lot of really great applicants for the board, but they didn't live within the city limits. So we were getting a little frustrated with that boundary. So I think with the proposed changes to the ordinance, the discussion has been, if we're going to make changes, is this a change we should consider to the bylaws at the same time? So that is the intention around this agenda item today.
This is Director Calderon. I just want to ask another clarifying question. Currently, there are 2 openings. We would be asking for one of the seats on the board to be outside of the city, or to be allowed to be outside of the city residents.
So that's part of the discussion. To say it would be adding another seat, it would, if it's just one outside of the city, then it would just be one. If the discussion came to where it was 2, then it would be 2 more. Or if not, it would stay at 2 seats and living within the city. Because currently we only have the 2 seats that are outside that are occupied.
So the bylaws directly say members of the board may be appointed who are not city residents, not to exceed 2 members, when there is a valid reason for such appointment, such as a member works in the city or has a special expertise to carry out the duties and responsibilities of the board.
So we would be changing the wording to be no more than 3, or possibly more.
That's the discussion.
Yeah.
So it could be no more than 3 or more. My personal opinion is, I think with it being a city board, if it did open up to another seat, it should only be 1, at least keep it majority city.
I would agree. I would love to see additional applicants within the city that we've been excited about, the applicants that have been outside of the city. I mean, I do think that if we're able to make the change, we could also potentially reach out to those that have applied for the board that are outside of the city to say, we've opened this up, the bylaws have changed, and see if there's interest from those candidates again as well. But I agree. I certainly wouldn't want to see we open it up too wide as far as what the bylaws say.
This is Director Hewitt-Smith. I know that I do not have a vote as far as this matter, but while you guys are pondering on a thought, if you choose to expand your decision for adding another seat of an external resident, maybe you could look at the terms of that seat, not necessarily that they hold a 2-year, 3-year, possibly 8-year. I mean, that's something that you may want to toy with. Just my thought.
And it definitely isn't something that we have to make a decision on today. We don't have to vote on it, but it's something that we brought up for discussion. As she said, maybe do some research, kind of try to figure out maybe how we want something to look and come back with those ideas at the next meeting. Yes.
This is Attorney Jones. Please know that any amendments that you make would have to be approved by the City Commission, the bylaws.
Thank you.
And with that, I think the goal would be to present, the draft with any bylaws changes that we're looking to make. So we can just say, here are the changes that we're requesting or we think is fit.
Okay. I just have another clarifying question. So then, when were we looking to present this? In order to be able to align that at the same time?
So, us having a discussion around the draft today, we would actually be voting on whether or not to go ahead. It would go to Attorney Jones and her team to look over, and then the proper steps from there. So I guess it would go to the city managers as well, and then decided whether or not it would come back to us if there were any changes or anything, and if not, then be presented to the commission.
Sorry, yes, that would be the procedure. It would come to our office for, obviously, our legal opinion. We would weigh in with the city manager's office. It would come back to the board if there are changes, and the board can then discuss those changes. And then once a final draft is created, it would be presented to the commission.
Okay, thank you. Because we're still meeting bi-monthly, so then that, I'm just thinking about when it would be possibly prepared to present to the city commission, and then have that additional information ready by then. So, thank you for that.
And I don't know if oh, this is Director Tanya Hewitt-Smith, just to make sure, because Sandra, you're pondering on the thought of this addition as far as the bylaws, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
I just verified it with Attorney Jones. If you're trying to get it within the time frame to where everything can be presented, you can call a special meeting.
Right.
So if you wanted to address the effect of the changes of your bylaws.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we will go on to our next item for discussion, and that is the ordinance edits. This has already been shared with the board previously. So first off, I would just like to say thank you to Attorney Jones. She did make quite a few corrections to the voucher portion for us to begin with that gave us the platform to start working off of. Our subcommittee came together, which included myself, Vice Chair Lukeman, as well as Commissioner Hoffman. Special thanks to Attorney Lewis Smith, Vice Mayor Patrice Griffin for all the efforts that everyone put in order for us to get this completed. And so working on this, I know that coming into this, I will say I am new, and a lot of us are coming in, starting this work, and feeling as though the ordinance was not being enforced, making sure that the wording was there in order for it to be enforced. So that was the purpose of us going in. Just us making sure that we definitely tried to go in and make sure that the wording was enforced. So I'm going to go through some of the changes really quick because we're going to open it up for discussion because, as I said, the board has received it. There has not been any discussion on this because we had to be in a meeting for it to be discussion. And so one of the crucial changes was actually changing from victim to survivor. So that has definitely been changed throughout the ordinance. Page 9, under duties and responsibilities of the board were changed. And so what was added there, and I'll go in and I'll read it really quick, was the board may hold hearings, subpoena witnesses, administer oaths, take testimony, require the production of evidence, issue appropriate orders, including dismissal of a complaint, to enforce subpoena, order for production of evidence, or other order to impose any penalty described for failure to obey a subpoena or order, the board, through and with the assistance of the city attorney, shall apply to the appropriate court. That was a change. We went through, we also changed the definition, or actually not changed the definition, added the definition for a housing voucher. And that states payments to families or individuals based on need that are made under programs funded separately or jointly by federal, state, or local governments or non-governmental organization, NGOs. Page 12. And this was under source of income, any verifiable, lawful source of money paid directly to an individual or family or indirectly on behalf of an individual or family, including but not limited to. Income derived from wages was crossed off, so we got wages. I wish y'all really seen this, could see it, but that was one. 2, funds. Money was switched to funds derived from a gift or bequest, contract including insurance proceeds, loan, the settlement or award for a claim or personal injury, court-ordered child support or alimony, and pension and retirement income. Social Security benefits, supplemental income benefits, Federal Housing Choice Voucher, Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing Vouchers was added, housing assistance payment, and from a federal, state, or local agency or nonprofit entity was added. Instead of using assistance throughout it, voucher was used. Then page 15, there was letters added to 18.7 under exceptions, A through G. E had some changes. And just saying when family was in there, saying immediate family. And at the end of E, it was added as used in this section. Immediate family means a spouse, parent, child, or sibling. F and G were added. The rental of a housing facility for not more than 12 months by the owner or leaser if it was occupied by him or her and maintained as his or her home for at least 3 months immediately preceding occupancy by the tenant and is maintained as the owner's or leaser's legal residence. G, with the respect of the source of income, nothing in this chapter shall be construed to preclude the making of a good faith business determination by an owner or leaser of a housing facility that an individual be denied the sale or lease of a housing facility due to an inability to meet the financial obligations involved with the sale or lease of a housing facility. And then at the end, 18A11 was something that was added that was taken out, but that was something also that Attorney Jones had worked on.
Chair?
Yes, Director.
I was just wanting to, before we went further there, I wanted to clarify that the last 2 items that you mentioned that were added, F and G, were specifically exceptions or practices that are not violations of this chapter.
Correct.
Just for those that can't see what we're looking at.
Correct.
Thank you.
And so as Director Calderon was saying, those do fall under the 18A7, under the exceptions for practices that are not violations of this chapter. So those were the changes that we made to the ordinance. Any other discussion?
I have a small note that I've identified tonight, is that I think a lot of, some of this was changing particular words to make it more streamlined with the phrases and words we were using. So in source of income, under number 3, the intention was to remove the word money from the ordinance and call it funds versus actual monies. And so source of income number 3 should be, the money phrase should be turned into funds, which I don't think we previously got in other edits. So just want to make a note that we should get that changed.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I just want to point out that a lot of these changes have been made to really clarify some of the terms, and also what I feel was to lift some of the stigma from some of the terms, and to clarify that there are several other vouchers and forms of funding than was previously outlined. So this actually will allow for some clarity with respects to what funding can be accepted. And so I see that this will help to benefit folks become qualified for more housing, which seems to be removing barriers. And that's what was the intention of this ordinance.
Thank you, Director Calderon, and I agree, because I know some of the issues that some people face were that some management companies wouldn't take funding from certain places if it wasn't coming directly from the tenant. And most of the time, if payments are being made, they're not going to pay to the tenant. They're going to pay directly to the landlord. And so these funds will no longer be able to be denied.
This is Director Burpee. I would just like to say thank you to the subcommittee and the attorney's office for all the hard work that you guys have done on this. So it's been a great job.
Thank you. And so I did inquire about community being able to receive a copy of this prior. And is it possible that you can explain for me?
Yes, good evening. In this process, the board makes a final decision on a draft. And again, I will emphasize draft. That draft will then come to our office for, as I indicated, for review. Comments will then, or our office's final draft will then come back to the board. If there are no changes, then it will be as is. If there are changes, we or me will obviously explain what those changes are. The board can consider that, ultimately make your own decision. Then at that point, it would then go to the commission. And when it goes to the commission for a first reading, there's also an opportunity for community input. I know with the last ordinance, although I wasn't involved in it, there were community reads in various parts of the community so that the community could have an input into the ordinance, because between the first and second reading of the ordinance, there can be changes, and that can be based upon what the community believes the ordinance should look like. So though there is not input today, certainly before a final decision is made by the commission, they would like to hear from the community.
Thank you for that explanation, Attorney Jones. Any more discussion? So once again, I would like to take the time to thank the subcommittee, Vice Chair Lukeman, Commissioner Hoffman, as well as our community members that help, Attorney Lewis Smith, as well as former Vice Mayor Patrice Griffin. I think with everybody coming together, we appreciate the patience from the board with us doing this work, because I know it has definitely taken a lot of time out. We're going to continue to do it. Next thing you know is we're going to be heading towards the educational portion of this, making sure the community is engaged, is familiar with it, so that way we can make sure that it is enforced and that people know that they do have rights, and the Civil Rights Board is here to make sure that those are upheld. So with that being said, we can take a vote on whether or not we want to approve this draft. Thank you.
Chairperson Faison?
Yes.
No.
Do I need a motion? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. Can I have a motion to approve this draft?
A motion to approve the first draft, please. This is Director Burpee.
In a second?
This is Vice Chair Lukeman, and I second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? It has been approved. At this time, we will open it up for public comment. And can you sign in? And you will have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Commission Chair, Commission Vice Chair, and Commissioners. I am Lewis Smith. I want to say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work with the task force in drafting this version of the ordinance. One, it's been my pleasure too. And I think it's something that's great for the community, especially in light of the housing millage, which the county is now distributing, building much more housing. I think that this will help to also show that the community is working together to fill and to stand in that gap. I was encouraged also that when the educational piece comes up next, that's something that this body will take up. It is my hope that you will consider, that the city will consider working with its housing departments, its building and safeties department, I forget what that's called here, and maybe even come up with just a book for landlords, tenants, and something just to make the information easily accessible to all that may need it. I've seen some successes in other places that I've worked, and so I think when we do that, we put all the information in one place, you see more enforcement and more adherence to the ordinance. Cups of coffee to that. But I just wanted to say,
thank you.
Good afternoon, Toby Hannah Davies from Isaac, and I want to say congratulations. This has been a long time coming, that you've been working to getting to stronger language in the housing equity ordinance. And we're very grateful to you for getting there today. So thank you and congratulations. And I also want to say about the 2 vacancies that you have. That's been a long time also that you've tried to fill those vacancies. I just for your consideration, why not have 2 people who live in surrounding municipalities probably, who have vested interest in the cities because they work here, maybe own property, maybe volunteer in an intense way, some real concern about the city. If you have good applicants, a pool, not just one great person, but more than one, why not open it to, so that you'll have a full board, you'll have their input, their ideas, you won't have trouble getting a quorum when someone has to be absent. Just for your consideration, it seems to me that people live in Kalamazoo Township, Oshtemo, all around are very interconnected with the city. So just for, since you did not make a decision on that yet, I think it would be so good if you could fill the board completely and really be able to have their input on all the educational portion that you're about to do and help with the talking with City Commission when they're ready for that, all the next parts of your process. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any comments? Any callers?
We have no callers.
Thank you. At this time, we will have comments from board members.
This is Vice Chair Lukeman. I just want to say thank you to Chair Faison for spearheading the subcommittee and all your attendance and emails and all the things that went into it. Also, Director Hewitt-Smith and Lull as well for their patience and working with our subcommittee too. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd actually like to echo that. Thank you to everybody who's put so much hard work. Thank you to everybody who's been committed to this ordinance from the beginning and seeing it through. Thank you for your comments and for your time also. And definitely looking forward to your feedback when we move into the education piece. I'm ready, and I know the folks at El Concilio are ready to also provide this information in Spanish and to have some of those forums to get that community input. Thank you. It's also, I'd like to thank each of us for hanging in there. It's been a long time coming, and it's certainly nice to have a little bit more momentum behind these meetings.
I just thank everybody again. I think it was a wonderful job. Thank you.
So once again, thank you to the subcommittee, everyone that helped. Thank you to Isaac being part of the Fair Housing Ordinance and the pushing of it in the beginning. Thank you again, Attorney Lewis, for all your help. And definitely have to get a shout out for everyone up here because like you said, from our meetings, from our emails, just making sure we had the time, we had the space, we had the assistance. Lau, she makes sure she gets the emails out to everybody. Once again, thank you to the board for your patience. It has been a long road. It seems like us trying to get this accomplished, but it is done. Thank you to the community. Looking forward to having more community engagement. Great ideas. I love the handbook idea. We'll think about what you said also as far as opening up the seats to not only just one, maybe both outside the city, just weighing our options. Thank you again to the board, as well as you, Vice Chair Lukeman. Just appreciate it because we put in a lot of hard work. I entertain a motion to dismiss.
A motion to dismiss.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned at 5:37 p.m.
What's the A-team say? I like it when the plan comes together. Let's have more meetings like this, okay? Okay. Thanks for hanging in there with us.
Yes, ma'am. Oh.